We'll see if this guy's going to do any load management with some of his stars. It's Steve Clifford. He's the head coach of the Orlando Magic. Give us a couple of minutes. And Coach, I saw you the other day over eating some Italian food there with your buddy Tom Thibodeau. What was that conversation like, catching up with Tom?
Like all the conversations, we always had, he told me what to do. I did it. He said, get the halibut. I got the halibut. That was basically it. You know?
So did he order your food for you?
He always has. Although New York, Houston, every night we went out and he told me, yeah, it was the same thing.
It would seem like that would be in reverse because he's the defensive guru, so he would have to be like trying to fight you off. That would seem more comfortable there.
Yeah, you're talking about the loading. It's the carbo loading when he and I go to dinner that we have to watch out for, you know.
Now, as a guy in the Eastern Conference, we were just talking about Kawhi. As a guy that's got a team in the Eastern Conference, what are you thinking when you see the move out west?
Well, I mean, well, obviously for everybody in the East, it's better when the great ones go to the other conference. And you know, he's a top, whatever you want to say, 3, 4, 5 player in the NBA. He had a phenomenal year in postseason. The one thing that I will say, it'll be interesting to see what they do. You know, they were 17-5 without him, which speaks to what a good job Nick Nurse did, but then also the depth and balance they had on their roster.
The only person that was probably losing sleep after you went up 1-0 against Toronto was you, right? Everyone else, because I know how the playoff games go on the road, man. You win a game on the road, the players are like feeling like, man, the world's at their fingertips now. Everything tastes good, and they feel like this is easy. And you lost some sleep probably after that game 1 victory because that was huge for you guys, but I think it carries over to this year.
100%. And as you know, you play in those games, and especially the first round that's so spread out that we had 2 days, you know, to practice to get ready. And if you look at their roster and their expectations and the type of team they had, you know, they came out and set the tone in game 2 with a totally different really intensity level defensively. And, you know, we played well the last 6 weeks of the season. And I'm not saying that we should have beaten them. They're a terrific team, obviously. But I think all of us, we were disappointed that we didn't make it harder on them after game 1.
Coach, you had a great year. You guys won 17 more games than the year prior to your rival, 42-40, one of the most improved teams in the league. Tell us about the step your team took this year. What are some of the things you tried to implement in year 1? And then also talk about the importance of bringing back key free agents like Nikola Vucevic and Terrence Ross.
Yeah, well, Ryan, we were just more balanced, you know, in the last half of the year. As you guys know, in the NBA, you got to be able to play well at both ends of the floor. And in the last 35 games of the year, we were first in defense and 15th in offense, which would give you a chance to play more consistently. And so that was the reason that we played better. And, you know, really with Terrence and Vooch coming back, it's really a testament to, you know, Jeff Weltman, John Hammond, the relationships they've established with the players there in their 2 years. And if you look at where we were at before free agency, we could have had an offseason where we could have taken a big step backwards. And not only to get those 2 guys back, but then to pick up Al-Farouq Aminu, who can be a big addition to our team. That, you know, our front office did a great job.
Yeah, and you bring back Vucevic, who had an all-star season last year, but you also drafted last year a guy in Mo Bamba. What does this mean for his future?
Well, I think the same. I mean, I think Mo's making good progress. I think people would have seen when he got hurt, he was great with his rehab, and Mike Batiste did a phenomenal job with him while he was out. We put him into this little study thing where after every game, Mo and Mike, and a lot of times I would sit with them, and he had him do written reports on the other team's bigs that, you know, for the future of his career. So he has a booklet to study by. And then also he made him evaluate the game offensively and defensively. 3 good, 3 bad in both. And Mo was all over it. You know, and I think that his purpose of play here, people saw only one night, because he has a little bit of a setback here. But I believe he's done everything he can to improve. And you saw a small sample size of what he can become.
And they're at that age right now, along with Jonathan Isaac, that 21-year-old age, all of a sudden, now, you're not a teenager anymore. You're not a young guy. You've got the seasoning. You've got the teachings through the course of a year or two, and now it's time for you to add to what we have. And you have a good veteran nucleus right now, but you're going to count on those two guys to actually carry you over the top.
Absolutely, and I believe they're both their strengths fit into what good NBA players are now. You know, for Mo, he can be both a rim protector, have a total pick and roll game and shoot threes, and Jonathan Isaac can be a terrific two-way player. I think that one of the things that's happened where we're drafting all these 19-year-olds is everybody's younger, as you know, compared to how it was even, say, 10 years ago, where you got some older guys. And I think that you hit it on the nose. It's our message constantly. Good NBA players switch teams, and in 2 days they know the schemes. They know the plays, they know the coverages, and the good ones are able to play pretty much mistake-free, so you can function on the floor. The younger players today, I think, for whatever reason, not as fundamentally sound as it used to be. And a lot of times with the team concept, they know how to work on their game, but they don't know how to practice well, and they don't always embrace the team parts as much as it was a few years ago.
Coach, one of the things we're always looking for in the front office are low-risk, high-reward opportunities, and I think your front office did a great job taking one of those on Markelle Fultz. Tell us what Jeff Weltman and John Hammond did by bringing in Markelle. I know he hasn't played for you guys yet, but what have you seen from him so far, and what do you think his next season looks like?
Yeah, well, I mean, potentially, if you look at us, and you're speaking about offense, we got a lot better on offense as the year went on. Our biggest problem is still everybody talks about the three-point game. The game is still the same thing offensively. It's all about penetration, and that part doesn't change. Our biggest weakness is we don't get the ball going into the paint consistently every night, so we don't get as many spot-up threes, and we don't shoot enough free throws, which are Markelle's strengths potentially. So his fit or his strengths of what he could bring to our team obviously stand out. He's been great. He's working hard. He's made good progress. You know, right now we don't have a timetable for when he'll be back, but he's really doing a good job.
Did you hope that maybe he could have gotten to a point to play in the summer league, to maybe have that aggressiveness and just go at it, take shots, don't worry about it?
Yeah, we talked about it earlier, and if he would have progressed to that point, then that could have been a possibility.
And now you're going to have, and we learned last night that you're going to have in your back pocket a coach's challenge moving forward here for this upcoming season. How do you feel about that?
Oh, I think it's a good idea. Now we're going to have to spend some time, probably talking to some football coaches and whether it's something that we have on the bench or whatever you do, I think the players are going to have to be honest. There's going to be a big part of it with the, not so much the foul calls, but the out of bounds, so that, you're as organized as you can be and take advantage of it.
Would you just use it in the fourth quarter, though? I mean, you only get one. I mean, I'm looking at this thing, right, and it said only one time you're going to use it. That's the fourth quarter when the game's on the line.
And that's a challenge. You mentioned the NFL. You see that in the NFL. Even if it's a clear play in the first or second quarter, sometime in the first half, the coach says, I'll just take the loss on this one to save it. And I think that's something that you and your staff will probably spend a lot of time thinking about this summer, when to use it and when not to.
Yeah, initially that's my thought also. You're going to keep that for the end of the game, the big call. There was one yesterday, 2 days ago in the game here, that they overturned a call with like 35 seconds left. That was a critical part of the game.
Coach, appreciate you sitting down.
Thank you, guys. Good to
Steve
see you.
Clifford, Orlando Magic. And
Tell Tyrone hi for me.